Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Michael Rollins Show. And our guest this week is the one and only Zorro. In this episode, Zorro and I talk about how high the community is. And I don't mean how high they are above ground level. It's a great conversation. We talk about even more than that, really. But I fly kind of in a bubble, so it was very interesting to me to hear Zorro's perspective on how stunning the community is. Pretty good stuff. Anyways, I hope you enjoy. Bye. So, there's this idea that I have kicking around in my head, and I would love your input on it. You are an artist, I think, at your heart, right? I mean, visual, graphic, jewelry. So the one thing I have noticed is that there seems to be, you would be an exception to this rule, okay? There seems to be two types of people that I find in FPV pretty consistently. Either techies like me, so I'm a software engineer, or somebody that works with computers, or network engineers, all these guys that are used to throwing around data in some capacity, right? And then the other end of that spectrum, if you will, are the guys that work with their hands. And so like the machinists and the mechanics and the guys that actually build things on a day-to-day basis. Do you see that in your YouTube channel, or do you see something totally different?
No, absolutely. So I don't know if you know, but I've been writing graffiti since '93, and that's my whole everything. That to me is not even a hobby. That's just part of my life. It's always been, and that's where I got the name Zorro. It's always been like a thing with me. So it's not. That's like my first love and my true love, because I've never gotten sick of it ever, and it's been like I don't know how many years. I'm bad at math, but a lot of years. So there's a certain kind of satisfaction that I get when, and I'm not just talking about like illegal graffiti, but if I paint a canvas or whatever, and I get that final piece, I get this kind of like rush, especially when I get to show it or give it, or somebody likes it or whatever, right? You get this like satisfaction. And then I started getting to like graphic design in 2000. And I noticed, I was like, oh my God, this is like something that I love. Because again, I was like using my skills, my creativity. I was making things for people, like print stuff or, web stuff or whatever. And I get that kind of like feedback again. Like people love it, or, whatever it is. So I'm getting that same kind of satisfaction from it. And I totally didn't, this whole thing kind of like started as almost like a joke. And I was interested in video, but I wasn't like, I couldn't imagine actually wanting to do it like constant. And I noticed that once I kind of like started kind of getting what's happening and being able to tell a weird story, that I got the same satisfaction from it.
It's a creator's high.
Yes, exactly. So I think it's a creator thing, absolutely. And you're absolutely right that those are the type of people that get into FPV, either like super into the technology or creators of something, or both, or people that want to create. And I think that FPV has this double effect on us, maybe even physically, where when you fly, I'm sure you get lots of endorphins and serotonin and all that stuff, right? I mean, And that right there, your body and your mind know that when I do this, I feel good. So just like smoking or drinking, or, I mean, not necessarily something bad, but your body knows that, you want to do this because we like this feeling. And I think that when you pair that with the high and the satisfaction you get from making videos, especially if people like them, or if you're trying to make them seen or whatever, it's like a perfect mixture of this, and I think that's why people are so passionate and go crazy online, pilots and everybody I meet is freaking super awesome person. They're really passionate, and I think that it does have a lot to do with like this combination of things that we do is addicting, like a real addiction. So
it definitely I realized very quickly that I was, even in the early days, because I feel a little bit like you. I'm not a great, I would not classify myself as a spectacular pilot. I'm okay. I can hold my own. But I'm never going to be a Mr. Steele or a Schizo or a Ladrib, right? Like I'm always just going to be, it's just going to be Mike Rollins here, flying the same 3 spots over and over again. And maybe occasionally branching out and, flying like the ocean or something. Mm-hmm. But there's still something exciting about finding that new perspective, because I fly almost exclusively in my neighborhood. Unfortunately I don't have time to do much more than that. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty amazing when all of a sudden you just hammer the throttle and punch out to 399 feet above ground level and tip it nose down and just let it fall.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden you're seeing all these things and all of this place that I've seen all my life. But now I'm seeing it from a totally new perspective. Number one, that's where the first endorphin, that's where the first adrenaline rush kicks in. Mm-hmm. And then to be able to take that and, when I first started flying, I was awful. I was terrible. But it was a lot of punch outs. It was a lot of showing off my neighborhood in different details than any of my neighbors had seen it. And I'd post this stuff to Facebook and my neighbors would be like, that is so cool.
Right.
That's awesome. And then all of a sudden you'd be walking down the street and, initially it's like, oh, somebody liked that. That's really cool. That's really cool. But then you get that first real one-on-one interaction with someone where they're like, hey, I saw what you put on Facebook the other day. That was amazing. Mm. Or even better yet, I saw what you put on YouTube and I thought that was really cool. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh wow, I just shared that perspective with somebody else. And that I think that is where it gets super exciting. And actually even these videos right here, mm-hmm. I didn't mean to set out to become, an interviewer.
Yes, you did. No,
it's part of my master plan.
Yes.
I wanted to be an interviewer. Really, honestly, I want to be Oprah. And
you're like the Joe Rogan of FPV pretty soon here.
Right. But I had all these questions and it's like, oh, well, let me go ask. And when I asked Chad Capper for the first interview, it was literally there were 3 hours between me saying, will you sit down for an interview and me interviewing him? And I just had questions. I was curious, right?
You did good. You actually asked good questions because I first started to cut you off. I first saw your video and I was like, somebody totally jumped in at the opportunity of this thing happening, but everybody had a lot of questions. I mean, I call Chad and I could talk to him about whatever. Right. But I was like, somebody needs to ask the real shit, And I saw it and I was like, I know this guy from somewhere, and I still don't remember where I know you. I don't know. I feel like we've met in person, but I can't remember from what or where.
No, so I am 100% certain we've never met in person, unless it's been incidentally on the streets of where you live.
Because your job and my ex job is in the same building.
They're in the same building. Yeah. Awesome. And I also used to work for Yahoo. But I've always been remote. I'm here. I'm in Virginia Beach, which you came through our region.
I did.
A year ago, this last summer or something like that. I think you found out what humidity really is.
It was so bad. It was unreal, and the bugs that you guys have there too. At night, I heard sounds that I've never heard before. You expect just the crickets or whatever.
Yeah,
there was some Jurassic Park sounding shit. I was so freaked out, dude. It was so bad.
I think it was you and Cricket, and who else came through?
No, it was just me for the Virginia trip.
Okay.
But I for Rampage,
I think crickets come through. All right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What now? What? I'm curious. What, like, did you just randomly decide I'm going to go to Virginia Beach, or?
Oh no, my wife's friend lives there, and they're like best friends or whatever. And she wanted to roll through, so we wanted to go together. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know that a lot of the guys are still talk about that to this day. Oh, Zorro came through, like it was so much fun. They flew with you, they had a great time. I wasn't there, unfortunately.
All three of them. It was so awesome. Actually, I made a video about it. It was super funny. I don't mind like making fun of myself. And it was like a meetup, and there was like 4 people together. I was like, that's awesome. But there were a couple that drove like super far, and that's what matters to me. It's like I don't need 1,000 people there wanting to talk to me. I'd rather have like 1 even or 2 or whatever that actually want for us to like hang out. That's great. Yeah.
So the local guys are great. They're actually, it's a really good group of folks, and I'm glad you were able to meet them. So like the creators high, things like that. What about, and this is actually, so I've been going back and forth on this because I do want to have Bot Grinder on at some point. But I'm curious. I know that he partakes in flies seems like quite a bit. Is that something that you do, or is that off limits for you?
I'm going to tell you this thing. I have never, ever met a stonier bunch of people that fly than freaking FPV, man. Like that.
Really?
Like, yes, I would say, like, I understand if you're everybody's in their own world and stuff.
Right.
But okay, I can't tell you one person that doesn't, except other than like chat or whatever, or a couple of people. But most of the people do. And talk about your awesomeness when you're flying. Yeah. But here's the other thing. You weren't talking about like weed, right?
Yeah, we're talking about weed. We're not.
I don't want to go off.
Dude, I like totally hit the crystal meth. It was amazing.
No, dude. You've never done heroin and flown. It's amazing. No, but it does. It opens up another dimension where you're like, oh my god, I'm actually flying. And I don't condone anybody doing it if it's not legal in your states. Too bad, but
right.
Yeah, and it is pretty awesome. The only thing that happens to me sometimes is that if I smoke a little too much, I can start getting almost like a fear of heights thing. Where the first time that's ever happened to me is like I was flying with Bot at a quad camp in Vegas, I think, and there was this really like massive building. I mean, it was massive, right? And I was flying up to it, and I was having, it was so hard for me. I felt like I was actually like there. And it was like, so now I know I don't like to super smoke, or if I have something sketchy to do, I like to do it like straight, just because I feel like I can just not like think more logically than whatever. But but yeah, it's just a little more emotional. But I don't think that should be a deciding factor on if you have Bot on. He's just
no. Dude, I'm totally curious. So my smoking days were when I was in high school, and I never actually really enjoyed it, which typically tends to surprise people. But I would just have these crazy side effects, like I'd repeat, I'd walk through the room over and over and over again, and it's just
like forgot what you just did, or just
no, like I would walk through a room and sit down, and then walk through a room and sit down. Like my mind was replaying over and over again.
Like in your head, or
in my head? In my head.
Okay.
It was not, and it tended to not be a fun experience for me.
And and weed's not like the funnest thing ever either. You know, you can get like anxiety when you smoke or panicky or whatever, you know, so it's not like, you know, it means a good time by any means. You just have to see where you fit. Yeah.
But I have never been able to figure out how you would fly and also be stoned at the same time. Just from my own personal experiences of it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we should just go give it a try. Give it one more try.
Right?
Don't give up so quickly. Yeah. And I think maybe the weed that you were smoking in high school was laced with like PCP or something.
I mean, maybe no, look, man. I mean, we're talking about the backwoods of North Carolina.
Yeah.
So there's no telling what was in it, or if it was. It's probably 100% pure weed or very bad weed at that. But
yeah. But don't feel bad. It's not. You know, it doesn't. It's not like alcohol where you can have an X amount of drinks and start getting like out of your character. I think it's. You know, I mean, some people get a little more introverted, but you'll never hear of a stoner like, you know, get stoned and want to like drive 200 miles an hour on the freeway. If anything, you might be like under because you're like, you might be paranoid, you're being super cautious, and then, you know, at the moment. So it's not that kind of a drug for sure.
Yeah. No, I definitely, I still read quite a bit about it. Vox had a good article talking about how we should legalize pot and criminalize alcohol solely based on the statistics, because
oh my god, yeah,
because you know you don't hear about people getting stoned and going out and killing a bunch of people, but that happens with alcohol on a regular basis,
or like brawls at a bar where
brawls at a bar. Like I mean, it's like
that's like
people are not. People are, I mean, people's like, here you go, man.
Come on, man, chill out.
Chill out, dude. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, totally. So, but, you know, it's something that is really special because it can, like, totally enhance the experience. And again, you know, it just tolerance and how everything, you know, you take to it and whatever. You shouldn't necessarily do it, but you know I do enjoy doing that once in a while.
Well, and you know, for what it's worth, it is legal where you are, so it's not like you're breaking any laws.
It's legal everywhere, man.
So the so what is all right? So that one time in Vegas, you were building diving. I really want to hear more about this. So you were building diving in Vegas, and now how long ago was this? Or maybe we shouldn't put a time period on it.
I mean, it was a quad cabin. Camping Vegas. It was over a year ago, but not too much over a year.
Yeah. Okay. And so you all of a sudden felt like you were on the building and about to fall off.
The experience of being near that, for some reason, like the scale of it and the realization of like, this is really me right now. Like, I mean, not as the quad, but you know, this is really me like flying this thing and it's like, holy shit, look how high it is. That really tripped me out. And I dive like super tall buildings all the time and it doesn't bother me. But if I was to be like super stoned, that would like, it's just like really real. It's really awesome and it's really real. But it can like freak you out to the point that it's like, oh shit, you know, I started like getting all like wiggly and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like,
all right. So now can we? Can I? So there you have it. I gotta say, talking to Zorro was a blast, and there is more to come out of this entire interview. The next little bit is going to be about his origin story. And then after that, we are going to talk about just a lot of random stuff. Anyways, I hope that you enjoy the Zorro episodes, and there will be more to come very soon. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.